Thank you guys all for coming. On behalf of the family, I just want to express gratitude because it's no small thing for you to be together. I wish Norman Rockwell were still alive and he could paint some stuff, like Billy Watkins in the front of Tom and Ray's in the morning, with his whole crew, but we're together here today for a purpose, and God is going to fulfill that purpose. What's going to happen while we're here today is this great man is going to be celebrated, and he's going to be cherished, and even in our minds and our memories, he's going to be adored. And because he is so amazing, that's going to be an easy job. What else is going to happen is God's going to be present here, and God's going to comfort this precious family. God's going to comfort you grieving friends, and God's going to bring the kind of healing that only he can bring. The Bible says in Psalms 147:3, he heals the brokenhearted and he binds up their wounds. And we're going to watch God do that in our hearts today. I don't know how he's going to do it, but that's his business and that's what he does. So you coming, like I said a minute ago, is no small thing. Mrs. Tregoning, seeing you in the parking lot, I love you, all of you that made the effort to get out and be here. It has already had its effect. The Bible speaks in the book of Isaiah, and it says God is talking about true religion, and he's like, look, this is what true religion is. And he goes through some things. He's like, hey, you guys are pretty good at coming to church and having your big festivals and, doing your bake sales and, whatever else it is that you do. But here's what I want you to do. I want you to clothe the naked and feed the hungry. And he lists a couple other things. And then he says this small piece in the book of Isaiah. He says, this is true religion, that you don't hide your face from your kinfolk in their time of need. And you guys being there yesterday, you guys being here today, you don't know what to say. What do we say? But just the touch of your hand, the smile of your face, your presence in this place, it's true religion, and you showing your face and showing your love and showing your comfort is a big deal. And again, on behalf of the family, thank all of you for doing that. And those that are part of the community that couldn't be here today, but we know that we're in their prayers now. It means a lot, and God's going to fill moments like this. Most of you know me. If you don't know me, to Billy Watkins, I was the preacher, Call me on the phone, Reverend. Except it'd be a little bit louder because, Billy is hard of hearing and he's always yelling. So, I had the privilege of knowing him in business, and I was his tree guy. So he called me Reverend, but to other people he'd call me the tree guy, as we celebrate this great man today, as I said earlier, it's going to be easy for us. You don't get to heaven because you're a great man. So as we talk about his attributes and the things that we love about him, and we share memories that are fond and close to our hearts right now, he doesn't get to heaven because of any of those great attributes. He gets to heaven because he's family. And I am so thankful, even as we pick this first song to open up with, that God is faithful to family. And this room feels like family here today. And I just want, if you're not relaxed already, I want to make sure that you feel at home and you feel relaxed and you feel that your heart is open to receive what God wants to do in you. The family's asked Tom, who lives in the farmhouse because he's such a great singer, came up to the house and surprised you with a song. And if a man's bold enough to come up to your house and surprise you with a song, he ought to sing at a funeral. So, Tom, I'd like to ask you just to go ahead and share this first song that the family has asked you to sing for us. I'm going to give you this microphone. I don't know if it is this way with everybody of this generation, but one thing about Billy and a lot of my friends that are Billy's age, my father included, is I walk through the garden alone is a big deal. The relationship that Billy and Jesus have, I don't know that anybody else was privy to that. Mr. McKenzie and I were turkey hunting this morning as we walked across that field, and the dew was hanging on the early wheat. Billy knows all about that, while the dew is still on the roses, and something about being by yourself, something about being out there in the garden, there's something precious about that. And I don't know if you've ever been somewhere beautiful and you tried to take a picture of it, because it was so amazing, and then you looked back at the picture you took and you just wanted to throw it away because it just didn't do anything to come close to that beauty, you know. Billy's eyes have seen beauty that none of us will ever even be able to get a hold of. And the deep affection that everybody in this room has for Mr. Billy Watkins is, it doesn't compare to the depth of love that Jesus has for him. The Bible says while he was still in his mother's womb, which was a long, long time ago. And I've heard some wild stories about his mother, by the way, you know, and, you know, I saw some really good family pictures of, you know, that, you know, but while he was still in his mother's womb, you know, the Bible says that I knew him there, and the plans I had for him, even in that place, you know, God was dreaming up the plans, and you guys have been part of the plans of Mr. Billy Watkins' life, and we can see God's handiwork in our community, you know, and it is easy to celebrate him, and it's easy for us to be grateful to God for the gift that this man is. So we're going to take a little bit of time now, and we're going to share some memories. I know Mr. McKenzie is prepared to say something today, and there may be others. I think that maybe some of the family members wanted to say things. Again, if you feel like saying something, please don't be hard on yourself. You know, you can't mess this moment up. You know, as we're just remembering and we're talking as family, you know, and we're celebrating a life well lived, and we're cherishing him in our memories. So, you know, if you feel your heart beating and you feel like you might ought to say something, you're among family and you're welcome to say something today. So, Mr. McKenzie, it's going to take you 15 minutes to get up here, so you might as well, you know, start moving. And, you know, if any of the rest of you guys have something you want to say, you know, we're going to let you come after Paul does. So.
Well, Reverend, I don't know what I'm going to say.
Well, me neither.
I'm going to talk about my friend Bill Watkins. And
Here, I gave you this microphone to use, so.
well, the thing, oh yeah, that's great. That's great. I know you can hear me now. Well, I really don't know how to start. Billy is such a great friend. I mean great, the greatest you could be. He just loved life, and he was always as happy-go-lucky as he could be. He just was a wonderful person. He loved his family, he loved life, and he loved being with people. He was a people person. It's hard for me to stand up here and talk about him. He meant so daggone much to me. I got to fight back the tears. But anyway, I think everybody here knows how I felt about my friend Bill Watkins. He was just like a brother or whatever. I mean, he just was a great person. And it's so hard for me to sit here and talk about him. I hope everybody here can understand that. I mean, I love that man just like my brothers or anybody of my own family. That's about all I can handle.
That was great. I love you.
Thank you, Reverend. I knew you were standing here and helping me out. Here comes
Shoot.
my friend.
As good looking as you are, you can just keep standing here if you want to.
Right. No, actually, I really wish you would stand here
Come
because
on.
I need some strength
Come
right
on.
now.
Come on in here.
I didn't prepare anything because I am not a public speaker, unlike my father. But I just want everyone to know that I was blessed to have the best father in the whole wide world. And that as anyone ever talked to me, I would always say that I was Bill Watkins's daughter because I was so proud of him. And I thought, and our family thought, that he could move the world. And I will miss him so much, but I am blessed, so, so blessed. And I just want to thank all of you guys for being here, because this would have made him very, very happy. He loved all of you guys, and it's made it so much easier for our family to hear stories. And it's just, you could never tell us enough stories about him. We would listen to you all day. So God bless all of you. I love you, Dad.
Tracy, thank you for picking me up.
Oh, baby, I love you. I'll always pick you up, just the way my daddy would.
Yeah, I know he would.
And your family, we go way back, don't we, Paul?
We do.
Oh, Henry, you go, boy.
What am I doing up here? I'm Henry Abrahams, and he's my brother-in-law. I'm sorry to say. No, I didn't mean that. I've been with him ever since the second grade. Oh, I tell you, he was one character. He used to get me in so much trouble. And one day, the principal called me into the office, and he says, "Henry, you could be a good student if you stay away from Billy Watkins." So we played basketball together, and we played baseball together. And one night we were playing a basketball game, and all of a sudden we were switching back and forth, and we're all down on one end. Billy's down there fighting with one of the teammates on the other team. And my coach says, "Henry, will you go down there and get Billy back in the game?" So I had to go back and get him back into the game. All the things he has been something in my life. And then all of a sudden, I would go over to his house for a couple of nights on a weekend, and Bessie would say, "That's my baby Billy." Not that he was spoiled. No, not at all. And then he came to my house. Well, that was a mistake. He met my sister. And then before I know it, they got married. And all of a sudden, my father wasn't sure about Billy Watkins. Billy would take his car after it rained and run across his yard and leave tracks in it. He would he almost burned the house down one night. He came home with my sister, and he was smoking in the basement on one of them fancy chairs. And if my older brother, which was out, came in and seen it smoldering, he pulled it out, and it burst into flames. If it wasn't for him, I might not be here. But you know what? Over the years, he became a more responsible person, and my dad changed his mind about him. He thought the world of Billy Watkins, and kind of took it away from me. I don't think he thought much of me. All I did was hot ride and drink. But no, Billy and I had a lot of times together, and I'll never I hate to keep talking about him, but anyway, we were in shop, and my shop teacher, he wanted people to build furniture the right way. Well, I did. Poor Billy he made this lamp. And the teacher went over to Billy. He says, "I don't think you did a very good job on that lamp, Billy." Billy just threw it on the floor and busted into a million pieces. That's the kind of guy he was. And I tell you, I could go on. I could write a book about Billy Watkins. I loved him dearly, and I'm going to miss the hell out of him. And I just hope that he rests in peace. God, I love you, Billy. Thank you.
That was great. Thank you.
I could go on for some more.
I can tell they're related. I can tell that already.
I got some more things I want to say.
That's great. Thank you so much. That was awesome. Yes, sir.
I don't know if I can do all this.
That's okay. You got it. Would you like this podium?
Book here on Billy. So, my name's Bob Snap, by the way, in case you don't know.
There you go, Bob.
Can you take that off?
Yep. There you go.
I've known Billy just about all my life. We went to Damascus Elementary, then Damascus High School during the late 40s and 50s. There were no middle schools back in that day. Billy has always loved sports and always had deep feelings to participate and compete. He played basketball and baseball in high school. We never had football, but if we did, I know he would be out there playing. Billy sponsored and managed W.W. Windy Company's softball team. Another close friend, John Warfield, who has passed away several years ago, was pitcher for Billy's team. One day, Warfield was not quite up to par pitching, and Billy, the manager, called a timeout and walked out to the mound. Classic John said, "What in the H are you doing out here?" Billy said, "John, I'm the manager, and I'm out here to help you resolve some of your pitching." It's the end of the story for me. Billy and John, lifelong friends and good people. It was about this time in our life that many of us got interested in playing golf. Larry Mulnick's put together a golf trip to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina for 1 week every year. Billy plus many others look forward every year to Myrtle Beach trip that has over 100 golf courses. To choose from one plus great restaurants. Then we started migrating north so the drive would not be so far. We went to Pinehurst and then to Chamblee in recent years. It seemed like a golf outing, something unusual always happens. For instance, we played Waynesboro Country Club, and that's Waynesboro, Pennsylvania. Did I hear music? What is it, Henry? Okay. We went to Waynesboro Country Club, that's in Pennsylvania, on a hot 90-degree July day. We went to the pro shop to pay when the clerk spotted Billy that was wearing blue jeans. He came over and said, "Sir, you cannot play this course wearing blue jeans." And of course, they had a lot of expensive shorts and pants and all that you could wear and he could buy. Billy said, "I have a rain suit," and the clerk said, "That'll do." Billy put on this rain suit, and as we were leaving to play, he said to us, after we get out on a couple holes, "I'm going to take this rain suit off." Well, I think the clerk in that pro office knew what we were up to. So guess what? He must have given the golf ranger a heads up about us. So the ranger followed us around until the last 2 holes. By that time, Billy was drenching in perspiration and didn't change a thing until we finished. That would be the last time we ever played that golf course. Another time we were playing at Little Bennett Golf Course, which is right over here at Hyattstown, when we see this woman coming towards us, pushing a stroller with a baby in it and a dog on a leash. We just looked at one another. What is she doing out here? We wondered, is she lost? Why is she out in the golf course? So she kept walking towards us, and as she approached us, she asked, "Have we seen any goats?" She says, "I live near here, and of course, live near the golf course, and own several goats. Sometimes today they escaped, and I'm looking for them." We said, "No, we haven't seen any goats." She said, "Well, I'll be on my way," and she took off, and we don't never know whether she found those goats or not. In our younger days,
No, I got something else here, let me say. Billy had a bad back, as you all know, and, well, most of you probably know it. And when he played golf, he wore several braces, I mean several, to provide a relief while playing golf. Tom Clark said one day, "Billy, if those braces break, we will all be injured." Billy said, "I don't care, I'm wearing these braces." In our younger years at Myrtle Beach, we would play 36 holes a day and think nothing about it. In our more recent years, our foursome consisted of Billy, his lifelong friend Paul McKenzie, Tom Clark, myself, and sometimes Bob Nodecker. We were just happy to play 18 holes and go get something to eat. After the episode, whenever Billy saw, I'm getting ahead of myself. Getting ahead of myself. I guess most of you know Billy owned a farm over near Cedar Grove. And he had a Canada goose that arrived over there in the year 2011. And all of you probably know what's coming now. On the Watkins farm, Stringtown Road. This goose was a loner, not connected or affiliated with other geese or a flock. Billy Watkins noticed this solitary goose and named her Elizabeth. The farm pasture had a variety of assortment of farm animals, namely two Guernsey cows, one horse, some sheep, might have been some others. Well, this goose, Elizabeth, acquired a liking and fondness toward a particular Guernsey cow in the pasture. The cow, however, never showed any interest toward Elizabeth. In fact, if anything, the cow showed a complete disregard and lack of attention or feeling for Elizabeth. Elizabeth took it upon herself to, in essence, become a bodyguard for this particular cow, for whatever reasons. No one knows why the attraction and watchdog attention shown to this particular cow by Elizabeth. If another animal or person approached the cow, immediately, without hesitation, Elizabeth would come from anywhere in the pasture, honking and her long neck going back and forth to chase away the person and or animal intruder. Elizabeth was relentless and unyielding in her reaction till the trespasser was gone. The guarded cow, on the other hand, would just stare and stand there, whistling all like nothing was going on. If we could only wonder what was going through that cow's mind. As you might imagine, Billy told us this story, and we kind of laughed. Yeah. He said, this is really happening. So one day, Billy took us over to the pasture. He got out of the car, and he went down, and he found the cow down there. And about that time, Elizabeth spotted him. She started her trek and marched toward the cow, her head bobbing and bouncing with ever-present honking, not taking any chance of encountering with Elizabeth. Billy retreated back to the car where we were, and we all observed this incredible episode. Elizabeth went directly to the cow, looked at us as if to say, "Don't think about coming back and expect to get close to this cow." All of us had never witnessed this type of occurrence, and I don't know if any of you have ever done that before, but a cow and a Canada goose, go figure. Several years of this relationship existed in the pasture. However, in 2016, the cow's hoofs got infected and was taken away. Soon, a few days later, guess what? Elizabeth left the pasture, never to be seen again. That's my story about Elizabeth. Anyway, when we were playing golf, if we ever see a Canada goose out there, Billy was with us, he'd say, "There's Elizabeth. I knew she had to be around here someplace." In closing, Billy Watkins will be missed by all who knew him. Our tribute to Billy is to think of the good times and memories that you have shared with him over the years. May my friend, may you rest in peace.
Thank you, sir. That was great. Appreciate it. Thank you. Somebody else. Could be a family member or a golf buddy or a game warden. Or... Ma'am, yes. You want me to come to you? I can come to you with the microphone, or you can come to me. It don't matter. There you go.
Billy and I go back way back when. He did business with me. But being the great family man he is, he came to me 33 years ago and wanted to see if I could help Joey get a job at school board, Montgomery County. And we did. He came in as a bus operator, and he just retired 33 years ago. I mean, he did 33 years, and he retired this past year. So he came to me and he couldn't have thanked me so much for helping him out to get his benefits. And that's what he was really after. So rest in peace, Billy. Great man. You're a great family man.
You know, that's actually how they got a hold of me, was one of the students that knows Joey and has known Joey this whole time, Tina Lutz, her daughter, got a hold of me in Africa, and that's Joey's work right there. Yeah, Esther Joy. You remember little Esther Joy?
Huh?
Little Esther Joy. Yeah. So, come on, Kingfish. It's a good thing y'all are sitting down. This is going to be rough.
My name's Henry King. There's that other Henry. We were in the class together. And Watkins. Who else was in our class? Huh? They were all dead, you're right. Class in 1954, and there's 7 of us left. I lost 2 classmates in 4 days this past week. Both of them were named Bill. But I'm sitting there listening to all. I can't understand. My hearing's not so well anymore. I get a little echo in my head. My dad always said that I probably had sawdust up there. I jumped over a fence one time, and I had to clear it. It was a three-strand barbed wire fence. Well, you got to clear it or you're in trouble. And the old man said, if your feet was as light as your head, you'd jump over the moon. But he never was much to give compliments. No. Just a lot of hard work. That's right. But anyhow, I'm sitting there thinking of this, and I don't know whether I ought to even tell this or not. Because Watkins was married, and Mr. Abrams was with us, and Tommy Ward, and another fella. And I don't know why we thought we had to get in a little trouble that night. But anyhow, we said, we're going down to Jim Welch's farm and get one of his sheep. And we did, and put the sheep in this 55 Ford with 5 men. And came up to Damascus and rode around. And they wanted to turn it loose right there in the middle of Damascus. I said, no. We got this man's sheep. And I know all these people. And I said, we're going to take it back and turn it loose. So we drove down Welsh Road a ways, and we were scared to go all the way down to the farm because there'd probably been some ruckus and nobody's going to be looking at it for us. So we turned it loose, and it ran out in the field, and Billy's out there chasing it, talking about what he's going to, well, never mind that. But anyhow, we come back to the car sitting there in the middle of Welsh Road, all 4 doors open, car running, and we come back, and I heard somebody. I said, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 people. I said, there's only 5 of us. I don't know who this other dude is, but we better get on out of here. All 4 doors slammed at the same time. I'm looking out the back window. I'm sitting in the back seat. I said, get down, boys, get down. He's shooting at us. Henry was underneath the floorboard. So we drove around a little bit and ended up over around Etchison, I think. I mean, we got out and looked, and here is a big bullet hole in the trunk of the car. And the only thing that saved us was that hard plate where the license plates and stuff were attached to it, and I stopped the bullet. But there's a hole in there bigger than my thumb. So we said, we probably ought to get a law involved here. Well, we didn't know the law was already involved because that's who was shooting at us. Deputy Sheriff. Well, he said we got together, and the boys that were married, we sent them on home, so, you know, we're covered for them. But it turned out, he said, that he thought that we were trying to steal one of his hogs. I said, no. But later on, my dad and I always stopped there at the L.J. Hawkins store there in Woodfield, and Dad said, Tommy Ward's car was sitting there at the gas pump. He said, that looks like a bullet hole in Tommy's car. I went over and looked. I said, no. I said, it's a pigeon's been there and dropped something on it. Somehow or another, we got it all covered up and everything. We're still here kicking and talking about it. But, Lord, we had a lot of fun, and we're all getting old. And I don't know what else to say. What?
That was all good, King.
Bill is the middle name. His mother was a king.
All right.
Yes, there's lots of us kings around. But high school, elementary, all of us went to Damascus Elementary. There was no middle school and all that crap. You went from 6th grade over to high school and went on. But I could rattle on all day up here with some stuff that we'll just let him take it on to the grave with him. How's that?
Oh my goodness. See, this is probably the funnest funeral you ever been to, huh? What do you say, you know? But what would you expect from this man? We were Mrs. Watkins and I were at the funeral home, and no offense to you boys at Molesworth, you always do such a great job, but we were just like, man, that sure don't look like Billy, you know? And I said yesterday, I said, you know what? His personality was about as big as this whole town is, you know? And the Bible says to be absent from the body is to be present from the Lord, you know, and his personality and his spirit were so big that the absence of his spirit does not go unnoticed, you know, and even as y'all are telling these stories, and even as we're, you know, it's crazy to be having this much fun at a funeral, but even as you guys are telling these stories and listening to each other laugh and remembering fondly, this is what I said was going to happen. You know, we were going to celebrate, we were going to remember, we were going to bring honor where honor is due. So it's been great. I'm happy to wrap this up, but if somebody else has something on your mind that you'd like to say, I sure don't want to cut you off. So this is, you said we could sit here all day and listen to stories. We may just wind up doing that, but oh, I believe it. I believe all you boys have more to say. Bullet holes in trunks, you know, what can you say about that, ma'am? Oh, it's like an auction, you know, you wink at me, you know, you scratch your head, you're going to buy it. You're going to buy this microphone. All right, well, going once, going twice. Here we go.
My name's Kristen, and I'm Billy's oldest granddaughter. And I just have the most amazing memories of him. My brothers and I used to go spend the night at my grandparents' house on weekends pretty often when we were kids. And Granddad used to take us out deer spotting. And he just had so much passion, and he knew exactly where to shine his spotting light to see the deer. And we'd go out for a good hour, and it was so wonderful. And I just remember being at my grandparents' house, and Grandma and Granddad would keep our games in the closet, and my granddad always had his WW window company and Damascus Community Bank hats hanging in there, and He just had the ability to make everyone feel special. And he never hesitated to tell us that we were special and that he was proud of us and that he loves us. And I'm so fortunate. My son is 7, that he's had the time to make memories with him. And I have videos of him telling my son Ben that he loves him and making him laugh. And he could always make us laugh, no matter what kind of a day we were having. And when I'd go visit my parents, sometimes I'd be upstairs and I would hear people laughing downstairs, and I would just look out one of the windows, and I was like, oh, I figured Grandma and Granddad were here, because Granddad's making people laugh. Like, you could just tell he was around, because there was always some sort of laughter. He had an amazing wit, and he could come up with the craziest jokes, and I always just wondered, how does his brain work so fast? He could make a joke about anything, and just make people laugh and feel good. And so I'm just so thankful for him, and we're so blessed that we had him for so long, but it never would have been long enough. So I'm very thankful, and I'm very proud to be his granddaughter.
I'm Steven. I'm Kristen's younger brother, and Kristen talked about going out deer spotting with our granddad, and I'm sure I speak for all of us, all the grandchildren here, that you looked over and you saw him driving, and you just knew you were safe. And he drove me to high school for a while. He would give me a ride, and one day I just turned back and I said, "I love you, Granddad," and then he just shouted out the window, "I love you, boy." And have everybody that knew my granddad hears his voice saying that. And I happened to call last Wednesday, and I got Granddad, and the moment he realized it was me, it was just an immediate, "I love you, boy." And it's the last thing I heard from my granddad, and I'm forever grateful for that. And I'm grateful that he met my daughters, and it makes me sad that he won't meet my son, but I know he'll embody that spirit, and you all know that. And he was a great man. I'll miss him a lot.
That was so awesome. I don't think we can top that last one right there. I want to take these last few moments, and because I am Billy's preacher man, I think it's important that as we close today, I preach a little bit. I think it's important because this man cared for every single one of you so deeply. If you've ever seen a man that cares about something, he adored you, those little puppy dogs running around, he cared for them, that white birch in the backyard. I mean, my gosh, I'm this tree guy, and he forced me to care for some pretty crazy, I'm like, "Billy," he's like, "Well, I want to keep it alive as long as I can, can we do anything?" I said, "Yeah, no problem," He cared about stuff. Thinking about Elizabeth and how he cared for that goose, and how he cared about their relationship, the goose and the Jersey cow relationship, and I want to read a little bit out of John chapter 14. I think that many of the things that we're celebrating about Billy, he picked up from his relationship with Jesus. I think that many of the things that we've celebrated, even, it's Stephen, right? Just as I think it's so fitting that you closed the sharing time with, that story, A lot of guys in that generation were reluctant to express how they felt, and they'd hold stuff back. I mean, you kind of knew it, but they weren't going to say it. But Billy would say it. and as you talk about your kids, and your grandkids, he's absent from this body, but he's not gone. This life, it doesn't end here. The Bible says we're strangers, we're pilgrims, we're all passing through, some of us longer than others. But our time here together is really relatively not that long. And as God brings comfort in this moment to us, I want you to know that God is working with Billy to bring comfort to the people that he cares about and loves. And the comfort that God is bringing right now, Billy is watching over and he's eager about it. He cares about it. He's involved in it. And Billy, if all of my customers were like Billy, I would never have to have a collection agency. I couldn't not let him pay. Ever. I mean, who leaves messages on voicemail machines? He's going to leave you a long, loud message, and he's going to, you need to get over here, and I got a check for you, and he was going to make sure he had tied up all of his loose ends, whether you wanted him to or not. And I feel like as loose ends are being tied up here, his care for you is found in the care that Jesus has extended to Billy. In John chapter 14, Jesus is talking to his disciples. John chapter 14 is late in the game. Jesus knows he's getting ready to exit. His disciples don't know what's getting ready to happen, but Jesus knows it's heavy on him. And as he cares for his disciples, he's trying to get them ready to deal with this. And he says, do not let your hearts be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house, he starts talking to them about heaven. In my Father's house, there are many mansions. If this were not so, I would not have told you. I'm going ahead to prepare a place for you there. Here's the reason why I think it's incredible. Jesus could have said, look, don't let your hearts be troubled. Heaven is a real place. I'm going ahead of you to prepare a place for you. It's going to be awesome. There's going to be streets of gold. There's going to be turkeys gobbling on every ridge. There's going to be a herd. Jesus could have talked about any number of awesome things about heaven. But the one thing that Jesus pointed out is what we're celebrating here today, and that's family. Jesus says this. He says, I go to prepare a place for you, and I will come back and take you to be with me, so that where I am, you may be also. It's relationships, We're passing through, but we've got each other. God's loving us. Even in the friendships that we've had and the memories that we've shared. And today, as you're in this place, I want you to know, and I want to again be certain to establish the fact that as awesome as you are, that's not what gets you to heaven. It's family. It's relationship with the one who put every good thing that you've got in your life. And today, as we leave this place and you walk through those lonely moments, those moments when you're by yourself, I want you to know you're loved. The love you've got for Billy, Billy's got for you. Sometimes I think of my loved ones that have gone on, and I'm just talking to Jesus, like, Jesus, I know you're seeing. Could you let them know I'm thinking about them? Could you let them know I love them? I'm on the way. These are the words of Christ. You know the way to the place I'm going. Thomas says, no, we don't. What are you talking about? Jesus says, I am the way. I am the truth. I am the life. So would you mind if we just close this time? Let's bow our heads. Let's close our eyes. Let's give ourselves just a private moment. Tom's going to come up and he's going to sing one last song for us, but we've heard many great stories, and every head that's bowed and every heart that's quiet right now, you could also tell stories. I want you to think about those stories that you've got. I want you to be grateful for those moments that you've had. And I want you to, in this moment, the Bible says, you can cast your cares upon me because I care for you. That's what the Lord says to you. And in these quiet moments while Tom's going to be singing, I want you to do just that. If you got something on your heart, or you just want to cast your grief or your fear or your anxiety about the future or your whatever it is, man, God is here for you, and he loves you, and he sees you. And as hard as Billy worked to take care of anything, he'd work to take care of you in this moment, to comfort you. So, Tom, would you just come and sing? And we're just going to remain quiet as you sing this last song. Heavenly Father, we do thank you for our time that we've had to be with each other today. God, and we thank you for the time that we've had to be with Billy Watkins. Lord, as we conclude our time together at this funeral service, I pray you'd go with especially the family as they're grieving, Lord, and these dear friends as we've come to celebrate this life and to honor this man. God, we thank you that you've been here with us, Lord, and that, Lord, you give us a peace that surpasses understanding, and we can't thank you enough. To you be the glory and honor, and to you we commit our lives, God, and our futures. In Jesus' name, amen.